welcome to Dojo Live this Thursday, July 11th, 2024. And this is the sixth episode of our series, The Hospitality Advantage, Real Stories of AI in Action. I am your host, Kim Lantis, and I'm excited because this is a super episode filled with super guests ready to recap a super conference that's HITEC 2024. So let's bring them on in. Awesome. So I'm so excited to be speaking with hospitality experts, Frank Trampert of Sabre Hospitality. Hi, Frank.
Hello.
Yes, and we've got David Chestler of Provision Partners.
Good day.
Hello. And then last but certainly not least, Shridhar Padmanabhan of Ancora. Thank you all for joining us.
Hello.
Hello.
Pleasure to be here.
As always. So experiencing HITEC for me, this was my very first one, but I think it was a really great compliment to the discussions we've been having on the series, David, over the past 2 months, really reinforcing the fact that AI is definitely not a one-size-fits-all solution. Data and cloud are critical for successful deployment of AI. And of course, we got to witness firsthand some exciting examples of how AI is being strategically applied within travel and hospitality. So let's start with you, David. I know that you were hoping to see more AI, more security, more integration at HITEC. Did it deliver?
I think it did. And I think you saw even with private equity and some of the acquisitions that happened rolling up into HITEC, everyone's really focused not on AI washing, but on doing better business. And I think what we've seen is the consolidation, rapid intelligence and transformation. Security is still top of mind. But what we saw on the floor was more of a presence of vendors utilizing AI, both on the service and support side, and we'll talk to Frank about that. And then also seeing how they're utilizing it in the tracking, measurement, and operational side. So watching AI come into the fold is great. Seeing all of the different companies coming together was amazing. And some of the new technologies and how they're utilizing them both to support the operation, but to pleasure the guest. Back to that bifurcation of operation, optimization, and personalization, right? All the buzzwords we've been talking about. So that's what I love seeing. Yep.
Personalization was a really big one that I kept hearing throughout the show for sure. So Frank, with all that you heard, saw, and of course talked about, Sabre had an amazing booth at the show. What excites you most?
Well, firstly, upon reflection on HITEC, David was sort of lining this up really well. It was a super busy show. I was thoroughly impressed with the attendance. Last year was good, but I think this year was even better. Lots of buzz on the floor about why, hey, travel is back. People are happy. Experiences dominate. People want to go out and experience life and travel. And then how are companies responding to that? And lots of innovation happening across the board. Big hype about, of course, generative AI and how that will transform and generally, maybe amend, adjust, or not our lifestyles and what it means for travel. And, we utilized the opportunity, of course, to talk about our latest innovations that we've been introducing into our platform over the last couple of years. And it was fascinating to see the interest. Our customers, of course, know about that for quite some time, but it was now, it's real now, right? It's here. It's no longer talked about. I mean, the solutions are here. They are embedded in the platform. Customers can experience them. And we had fascinating conversations about, where is it going to go to? What's next? And, how is it going to evolve? So it was all around a fantastic week. And we were thrilled to talk about the cool stuff that we're up to. So.
Absolutely. I think we can dive into some of that cool stuff right now. I wanted to say at the Hall of Fame induction, and that's a shout out and a congratulations to Terrence Brunson and Floor Bleeker, of course. But the host of that talk, that was Anthony, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce your last name.
Melchiori.
David's always able to correct me on the pronunciation. Thank you. And Glenn Hausman. And they talked about tech and the human touch, which you also spoke to, Frank, on our one-on-one interview, which people can check out on the site Dojo.live. It was great. Can you speak a little bit more to that future and this sort of human-centered future that you feel, and I guess how your Synexus Concierge AI and your retail studio kind of feed into that as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great segue. I read a book. It's called a while ago called Humanity, and it's basically around leadership and humane leadership, right? Putting the people at the focus of whatever you do. And I think that will never change. You and I talked about this at the conference. How great is it to speak in person, to meet, shake hands, sit down, have a conversation, or share a dinner or a drink. It cannot be replaced with any artificial intelligence or any video calls. They have made life more efficient, yes, but it's not. It will not replace that. So I feel that the technology innovations that you see in the industry or overall will continuously enrich our ability to live better lives and spend our times in areas where they are making a big difference. Like, for example, spending more times with your people internally in the organization, spending more times with customers, but also from a hotel perspective, spend more time with guests and have mundane tasks and cumbersome tasks and time-consuming tasks and manual tasks being facilitated and taken care of by technology. And if I sort of put this into sort of maybe another segue, so what does it mean from a business perspective? Yes, AI is hyped, and it's hyped because artificial intelligence has been here for a long time. It's not nothing new, but generative AI is putting a little twist to it. It elevates it to a different level, right? So the eloquency in which AI responds, the speed in which it makes connections, and it's quite intriguing to see, what is possible. Everything is possible. But then there is also the consciousness that's kicked in, and what happens if AI makes a mistake, or what happens if it doesn't go so well, and how do we do that? And so we have taken a very interesting approach. We're utilizing many different technologies on AI, and we're taking the approach to learn what are they good at. Not every AI technology is good at everything. So, Microsoft is obviously very good with Copilot to help coders to improve quality of code, to code faster. ChatGPT is exceptionally well in interactive conversations with customers in the way how it responds. And so we're utilizing different methods, different technology sets across the organization and test internally where we get the biggest applicability, the best outcomes. And then we started to innovate and introduce some of those into our tech stack. Some time ago, we introduced within our Synexus booking engine artificial intelligence to help customers to have a higher level of personalization. So as customers shop, as consumers search around different products and services, the AI starts to learn as to what is favorable, what is most liked, and it then services up those kind of offers or things that you may not have thought about when you have a beach vacation or you go to the mountains for hiking. It learns and it gives you some other options and alternatives. And what that happens and drives for our customers is, of course, hey, a bigger match to what you're looking for, a higher level of conversion leads to more revenues, leads to greater guest satisfaction. And it's all about this experiential experiences or travel experience that you're looking for. That's just one area at the front end. And at the back end, we're utilizing the AI technology to help our customer service desk, our implementation teams to respond faster to customer needs when there is a technology challenge or they have a question about the products and services that we offer.
Awesome. There's that personalization word again, which is leading into also, I think, loyalty for users, especially hoteliers, right, of such ability to capture that personalization and these repeats. And I think you mentioned the beach cabana or mountains. And no matter where I go with this hotelier, I'm going to be personalized to where it fits, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Shridhar, what else is coming? The conversations that you had, what do you think companies should be paying attention to?
So thanks, Kim. Across the various sessions, not only at HITEC but earlier at Skift, data and AI and short-term rentals, both of them, I think different hoteliers have different capabilities to invest in AI related proof of concepts or to stand up, an AI governance team to begin with, and only then to say, hey, are we going to do use cases? What are we going to do? How do we get the data, and so on. So quite a few of them are even potentially those who don't have the resources. I mean, a Marriott has the resources, and Expedia has the resources, but quite a few of them may also be, hey, let's wait and watch. Let's see if there are standard use cases, because there could be use cases with the customer experience. There could be use cases with, improving the productivity of the DevOps engineers, but that's more horizontal across industries, right? So there seems to be a mix of I'll pilot it. At the same time, I'll wait and watch to hear what's coming up. Is there going to be an industry standard or an industry bubbling up of the primary use cases? So those are the kind of questions that I felt I heard. David and Frank, I'd like your either
Mhm.
reactions to or add-ons to what I just said, but those were the kind of questions that I thought I heard, David and
No,
Frank.
and those are great observations. And Sridhar, we even spoke about how to optimize the event itself using AI, because we all have preferences. We all have things that we want to see. I want to see Frank talk about Retail Studio, or I want to understand what's going on with their acquisition of Nuvola. So the guest engagement and operation piece, how does that come together? With the technology now, you could enable this type of biasing and preferencing to go into the scheduler of the event and start to present to you options of where you can learn. And that's what Sridhar and I were talking about quite a bit, is how you could use the technologies, especially those that Encora support, to enhance the customer, the colleague, and the guest, right? Because that's what's so important for all of us, is optimizing the utilization of the technology for the commercial value of the company and the guest. And it's losing sight of that because we're doing more to become predictive. The stuff I liked were a lot of the visualization technology companies, companies like even AppTech, that's created a new dashboard to virtualize their data. Speaking with companies like Directful, part of the E20X groups, and others that are creating more mechanisms out there to utilize AI to optimize selection of guests for deals and offers. And you look at all of the various booths and people working, the predictive part from IoT is going to be helpful. And how I make sure HVAC and the rooms and the filters are optimized so the guest doesn't walk into a room that's 90 degrees during the summer. They walk into a cool, tempered room. And that's a lot of what we're trying to do, is break down the silos, let the technology enable the business to operate more efficiently. And that's from several different areas: the guest journey, the building itself, and then the colleague. And that's what I want to put together with these esteemed colleagues, right?
Yeah. And I mean, even when it comes to the IoT, and not just efficiency for a better guest experience, but efficiency for my bottom line too. I'm able to maintain things faster, spend less on electricity and whatever else that might mean.
Yeah.
I think I heard Frank talk about, use cases and how there's really strong AI for certain things with depending on the company that you go with. Shridhar also asking these questions of, how do I pick and choose? And I want to bring it back to that word that we've used quite a bit on this series, David, and I think you said it earlier today as well, which is this AI washing sort of prevention. And it makes me also think of the talk with Anthony and Glenn. They made this interesting point of fads versus trends, right? This idea that fads rise quickly, raise in popularity really fast, but then boop, disappear and fall off the map also just as quickly. Whereas trends take to they tend to take a bit longer, move a bit slower to gain that momentum, but they have the staying power. And I think it's the staying power that we're of course interested in. So with AI being so prevalent at the event and everything that you see, I'm curious as to the advice that you might have for our viewers and for other companies in terms of change management, project management. How do we choose the what, the how, and the who to help and to distinguish between fads and trends? And of course, Frank, I know that you also spoke to some really cool ways in which Sabre Hospitality approached this, or even choosing to actually slow down a bit on the innovation side in order to focus on other things such as cloud or whatever. But let's talk to it. How do we make sure we're not on the fad train, but on the trend train?
No, I mean, firstly, I will say historically, hotels or hoteliers have not been as innovation focused.
Right.
I will say their focus has been on really running their businesses, taking care of customers. And it wasn't necessarily a strength of the industry itself, because it is a fragmented industry. It's not very well connected. It doesn't have necessarily broadly adopted standards, which makes things a little bit more difficult. And then after, I guess, over the last couple of years, where there were other influences that made businesses a little bit more difficult, people started to look at innovation and thought differently about how can I drive incremental value to the assets that I have, and then also how can I be a better host. And in that sort of translation, or in that sort of in that mode, I feel we are obligated, we feel a great obligation as a technology provider to help our customers, partners, clients, the industry to think differently about the future. And it is driven by the customer needs and the customer demand. So, what is driving a specific maybe desire or ambition? And it is the desire to have a higher level of personalization that I experience today in the e-commerce world, but that doesn't translate necessarily well into the hospitality world, and the expectations are rising. So if I were to then adopt a concept like retailing and say, okay, how can I become a better retailer? How can I go above the guest room, think about my product, service, and offerings in a more holistic kind of way? And how can I potentially digitize those assets and think of it like, how can I become Shopify for hotels? How can I contribute and help hotels to make more incremental revenue, making sure that these things and these amazing offers that I can provide to the customer, they are aware of when they make the booking. Today, that's very hard to do. I have to be in the hotel in order to select something or be informed about it. But with new technology, I can now elevate those and take those pieces and those experiences and those services. I can digitize them. I can bring them into the booking funnel. If I am able to inventory them and make them instantly available, I can create bigger satisfaction levels, and I'm coming more informed and more prepared for my trip. And that's the obligation I feel that we have taken super serious in our ambition to maybe change the industry. A central reservation system has been around for a long period of time, but a platform that enables e-commerce at scale is new. And that requires thought leadership. It requires discussions like this to create the awareness. And it requires also customers who dare to try and be at the forefront of partnering and doing things and looking at things a little different. So we believe that the addition of AI in conjunction with retailing will transform the landscape, and we have seen this very clearly coming through at HITEC, where we were able to speak even more informed about that and showed our customers the innovation, how it's coming through, and for the 300 that have already adopted the solutions, how they experience and how much they enjoy being able to service their customers better.
Yeah. Kim, if I could come over the top on that, I think
I always
do. What's most important is the flexibility and adaptability that Sabre as a company has shown, again, for its customers, becoming more customer centric and utilizing the technology to enable the customer to embrace what's new and what's coming at their pace. And that's what's important, because you asked originally, how do we help organizations prepare? And a lot of what we do is really having that open discussion of, what do you want to deliver at the end of this? And what are the organizational controls that you have in place that can help you manifest that through the transformation? So where are you and where do you need to get to? And companies like Frank's are enabling hoteliers to become much more adept at utilizing these technologies to enhance the use of robotics or similar to help them benefit the guest and the operation. And that's where the success is going to come, as I think we've talked about. You could dip your toe in the water, but you need these successful companies testing the fences, showing you how AWS or Azure or others are embracing these technologies, like Frank said, with Microsoft and other technologies, and utilizing that globally to enhance the business. But that's making it achievable, iterative, bite-sized, consumable. How do I pay for it, charge for it? All of that has to be worked out, because the two examples you gave of Glenn and Anthony in the start, they tried to use the avatar and the fake, right? And it didn't work, because it's still that new and it's that nascent a technology that you can't have the avatar speak. But using a hologram to greet someone at what used to be a front desk and get them to their room could be a creative way of changing or transforming hospitality, right? And I think that's what we're reliant upon companies like Frank's and like Shridhar's at Ancora to help the hotels and the business vendors achieve that measured growth that has to happen for this new technology to take place.
Absolutely. Shridhar, I'm sorry, do you want to speak a little to how you see companies approaching the what are they going to implement? How are they going to implement it? Who are they going to utilize for implementation? Or what are you seeing out there?
Yep. So I think while coming to that, Frank, I did get a chance to have a conversation with Amy Reed while we were there.
Yeah.
Everything that you're talking about in terms of adding capabilities to the Shopify experience, if you will, right? Amy Reed was talking about, I'm somewhat familiar with her own TechSembly, which got acquired subsequently by Sabre, and how that platform had some of these features already available, which as and when that gets built out, I feel that at least in this space, it will provide a very fantastic option for hotels, right? For large and small hotel companies to think about, hey, how to get more people into the funnel at the right time and make it more visible to them. So I think that option of that functionality would be very, very valuable. And coming back to you, Kim, I think the different companies are, at least the people I'm talking with, are very much in a piloting mode. While UI UX has been around for a while, both on the web as well as on the browser, I think everybody is trying to, at a very tactical level, everybody is trying to do with, hey, how do I give fewer clicks, right? Get my customer to do fewer clicks, fewer screens, to get them to where they want to go. I don't want to irritate them. I want to minimize. So there's a lot of learning, re-engineering that's happening on that front. I don't know if AI can help out there. I'm not claiming that it will. But at the same time, I feel that, what David was talking about, the predictive ability in case of trip disruption and various other things, those are probably tools that we will see out there, low-hanging fruit use cases, if I can call it that, right? So that is something that we might see soon enough, either from the platforms or airlines. United Airlines already spoke about, at HITEC, at Skift, they spoke about how they are doing that. The Shane O'Flaherty from Microsoft referred to that while he was at HITEC, right? So he said this is how airlines are using it for, they can see a storm coming. They want to let everybody know about the airlines. Call your agent, or on the other hand, cascading that to the hotel side as well. So those are things that we'll probably see. I'm very excited to see how these will, emerge. I'm excited as a person who is a customer, who is a consumer of these services. I'm excited as a person who has been in the travel industry 20 years. So a lot of moving parts, and HITEC was fantastic for bubbling up some of these.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind, I just wanted to comment on both of the gentlemen's mentions, and one that sticks out is really, I believe that hotels today expect something different from their partners. It's a B2B enablement. Maybe it has been, but it's completely different today. We spend a lot of time with our partners understanding the use and the applicability to their customers and to their guests. What are they looking for? How do they experience the travel experience? And we're thinking about, in the development of our products and services, how can we match that better? How can we drive the technology that we enable our customers with? How can we have that technology to be easily used by our customers, by their customers, by travelers like me? Make it easy, 1, 2, 3-step booking process, finding things easier. We spend a lot of time today in this space, and that is why we do have the most complementing and comprehensive retailing solution today in the industry. It is about partnering and looking at use cases that truly solve our hoteliers' most pressing problems, and then think about how can clever technology make that a better affair, even if it is through automation, if it's through self-enablement, or even if it is to take complex problems and solve them in a faster way and fashion. That's what's different these days. And I feel that in Sabre Hospitality, we have managed to bridge that gap and not being seen only as a technology solution provider. We're seen as a partner in solving complex, big problems for the industry. And we're seeing the successes coming through. And that's the most exciting part.
Absolutely. And this bridge of the hotel, like the technology between the hotels and the guests, because I get the sense that the guests are ready for it, right? Absolutely. Like we've talked about this. We utilize tech everywhere, and so it's no surprise if we want to have that in our travel and hospitality experience as well. And I think coming back to what we've talked about in the series before, of not letting it be scary, right? And just trying these things and making something new and feeling excited about it is really, really good. With these sort of closing remarks, we talked about the usability of it. We did mention the HITEC app and our experience there. I thought we maybe could wrap up with chiming in a bit about our conference wish lists, the event itself. What was spectacular, and what might we like to see ourselves as attendees in the future?
Well, you're talking about one of the largest hospitality technology events for our industry that is global. I think there's a lot of exciting news that's coming out of it. The acquisition of Hospitality Upgrade and the assets that HFTP made, that also involves more events with CIO Summit and others. I see a lot more with the investment conference, the investment that HFTP made in building out to try and bring the investment community and the technology providers, investors, and operators together. That was the first, and I look forward to many more. I think a lot of what's happening, and we saw on the floor, was the automation or technology coming to the buildings, like we talked about, the IoT, the robots, the operational things that, the front end in greeting the guests and the operations important, but how is the operation actually matching what people are starting to see at home in their consuming life? And then with travel and the event itself, that's where the communication and the openness of the platform, the app, enabling us to communicate, to find out more about the exhibitors, the exhibit space, wayfinding. I think wayfinding is critical, especially as you have an aging populace. Not that I look at myself, but point being, finding your way around to the Uber stand, to the right booth, to the right contact. These are all going to be very important, using devices, technology, and optimization of time, money, resource, etc. I think that's what's happening, is things are going to get faster. They're going to improve. You're going to have more touch points for technology and consumers and the operation. Just the speed of everything's going to go. That's the part that I'm excited about. And I'll leave it at that.
Perfect. Frank, Shridhar, anything that you'd like to chime in with before we say goodbye today?
No, yeah, definitely. Thank you. And I would like to maybe speak about this from a philosophical perspective. David and I are part of the T100, the Technology 100, which is an assembly of subject matter experts and industry experts around the globe, from consulting, from hotel, and from technology. And T100 is sort of coming together to think about how can we, as influencers, as builders of the industry, collaborate stronger in solving challenges and maybe reinventing the way how we do business, maybe reconsider very mundane, older standards to be revamped in a more efficient way and fashion. And sort of my plea is a call out to collaborate even stronger with industry peers and partners, if it is competitive of nature or not. Even in that case, we do have opportunities to collaborate better and build stronger integration for both of our joint partners and many partners to do that. And the conversations we're having at that group, and when we come together at places like HITEC or soon ELA and others, it's fascinating how that is lesser becoming an issue. There's more willingness to collaborate. There's more willingness to talk. There's more willingness to engage. And I love that. And, David and I are doing exactly that. We're encouraging people to come together, to have a conversation and talk about the things, why are they complicated? How can we resolve them? That's exciting. And facilities and conventions like HITEC are a perfect place to build upon that and find opportunities how we can jointly showcase the collaboration that we all have in the industry.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Frank, David, Shridhar, it's certainly been a pleasure recapping HITEC 2024 with you, discussing the future of hospitality tech with you today and hospitality in general. As we wrap up, Frank, I did want to ask you where our viewers might be able to find more information about what Sabre Hospitality is up to.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we do are already active on social. We have our places on LinkedIn. If you have particular questions about products and services, I'm very prominent on LinkedIn as well. Please connect, reach out. I get you connected with the right people. And of course, sabrehospitality.com is a fantastic place to get informed about our new branding, our studio suites, our innovation around Synexus Concierge AI, our shopping engine, our retailing efforts. And I look forward to engage with you and have cool conversations about the future on hospitality and tech.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much. And David, of course, before I wrap up with David, Shridhar, thank you as well. Where might folks reach out to you?
Oh, I think we have the LinkedIn on file. In the links, and I think that's the best place. But otherwise, it's been such a delight to hear from David and Frank on their views on HITEC. I had a wonderful time, across both conferences, and it's so great to hear a recap on their thoughts. Kim, thanks for having me.
No, our pleasure. And David, I saved you for last because this is not the end of our Hospitality Advantage series. I do look forward to continuing the conversation with you, as well as Ancora's head of user experience and design, Sandra Vasquez. That's going to be the seventh. That's exactly. You came up today, and that was not on purpose. It means it's relevant. And that's going to be our 7th episode, July 25th. So don't miss it. Thank you all again, and thank you to our audience. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.